Hey, what's up, guys? So today I want to tell you guys about the story from 2018 where my drone was stolen. I was pretty upset over this, but thankfully, in a couple of months after that, I had some things that went through my head. I was obviously thinking about this drone way too much. It was a Mavic Pro, first one that was out there. I got this basically a couple months after it was released, and at this point I was really upset that I used it almost for 6 months, and for me to lose any kind of things like that, it's just really it kind of messes with your brain a little bit, and it makes you feel bad in a really bad way. And so basically we're at this event in this Hindu temple in Livermore, and we're shooting there. I had some couple of shots in the morning of the temple, and even before that, actually, I had the bride's prep shooting parts. I basically took some really nice drone shots of their house and all of that stuff, and it was coming out great. It was a great event. People were nice. The most important thing was my team. So it was me and my friend who basically shoot almost every single wedding together. He's basically the one who taught me how to do a lot of the stuff, and he's the one who got me into the industry. If you haven't watched the video before that I posted where I explain how I became a professional photographer or a videographer, you can see how he was a big role in that whole process, in the whole story. So I obviously had no doubt that he's the one who would do anything like that, because he's basically the guy who got me into everything. So I had all my trust on him, but he also had two other videographers that were on set who were also shooting alongside us, and so for me to trust them was just as important as trusting my friend for shooting the whole event with me. So while we're there, all of our stuff was placed in a corner in the hall. It was not locked, it was not placed away properly, it was just out there, it was sitting. My drone was in a small Polar Pro bag that had all of my drone controller, 2 extra batteries, and even my Polar Pro ND filters on it as well. So everything was in a small little box, and it was in that little corner, and it was there for basically the whole event. And after the whole event was over, there was obviously portraits inside of the hall where family photos took place, and all of that happened. So after the family photos and all the event happened, we basically started packing up all our gear. We told the other two photographers to go ahead and pack all your gear away and just put it away, so that we can basically get out of there faster. So first thing, obviously, they packed up and they left, or they didn't leave, they just put it away and they started eating lunch, and then it was our turn to go and pack up. So once we were out there, I started looking for my drone, and I couldn't find my drone, and this got me really worried. First we thought it might be some kid who just picked up, it's a small bag, they could have picked it up and put it somewhere else. They just thought it's just a little bag, kids do that here and there. So because at this point, we're basically telling every single person at the venue that we have lost a drone that was worth like $1,200. And at this point, everyone's looking for it, and we're just going around, running around. It started raining, so we're like going in and out, trying to find, this drone. And it was really hard at times, but we actually had to basically go in and out. We had to check different places, even check the car over and over again just to make sure we didn't miss a spot. At times I did question those two other photographers. We went to their car, we checked everything in their car. I did not like a proper way where I would accuse them of stealing my gear, but I basically checked enough to satisfy myself and think that it's enough, they don't have it, we need to look elsewhere, or someone else stole it. Because when you're shooting an event like this, you don't expect your own teammates to steal anything. You just basically kind of trust them. That's one of the things that you always have to kind of just go with, is you got to trust your teammates, and you got to trust who you're shooting with. And because they are getting paid, you are getting paid, there's no reason for you to steal anything. So So that event obviously happens, and all the events happen, and everything finishes off. And even though I was paid about the same amount, I wasn't paid back for the lost or the stolen drone at the time. We didn't know what was going on. We even contacted the management of that building, and they didn't have any sort of cameras outside. So we couldn't actually line up any details that provided with who actually stole that drone. So we kind of just had to suck it up and basically believe that it was lost. It was stolen by someone at the event who was a guest. So later on, we just kind of forgot about it. I obviously didn't forget about it because it was always in my head. And a couple details from the other photographers, they were just, as the next day at the reception, we're just talking, and they are mentioning that this guy is mentioning that he had a drone and he crashed it. It was like one of those cheap Chinese models, and he basically crashed it, and he didn't have a drone. So a couple months pass. This was in January of 2018. A couple months pass, and now it's like March of 2018, where I'm kind of settled in. I'm not thinking about it as much. And one of those photographers, he posts a picture of him using a remote controller of the DJI Mavic Pro with the Apple wire connecting it from the controller to his phone. So in this picture, I could see that the Mavic Pro's controller comes in with a black wire that basically connects to your phone really easily, and it doesn't stick out like the iPhone cable. And from here on, I could think of a couple things where mine was also broken, because I kind of used it crazy over the last 6 months, and I didn't know how this guy didn't have a drone 2 months ago, less than 2 months ago, and now he basically had a drone and a controller which had a white wire, which, by the way, was also what my setup looked like. And it kind of just, it just raised questions in my head and raised suspicion. So I contacted my friend who brought in these two photographers and videographers to the gig. And at this point, I'm telling him, this is what's going on. I think this guy's involved, and I think that might be my drone, because there's no way this guy can actually break this wire in 2 months, unless he forgot it or he lost it or something like that, which is completely possible. And we can't blame anyone without having proper evidence. So at this point, we're just let's just see. He was my friend was there is an event that I'm shooting with him in about a month. So obviously I wasn't invited to the event. I wasn't one of the designated shooters at the point. My friend was. So basically what I asked him is, hey, this is my serial code. I still had the box of the drone, and I told him this is the serial code, and if you can sneak a picture or figure out if you can see how see what the serial code of the drone is that he will be using. So basically this guy brings the drone to the wedding that he's shooting with my friend. So at this point, I'm just hey, just check the serial code. So a month passes at the event. It was about 9 or 10 a.m. on in April, sometime around April, and my friend basically checks the serial code when he was about to fly. He was like, hey, let me just check it out, like a friendly gesture, oh, this is where the battery goes. And then the serial number is inside of the battery compartment, so you can actually figure it out there. He took a picture and then he sent it to me. I checked it and I was like, hey, dude, that's my drone. That's my freaking drone. There's no possible way that this could be his drone. Apart from that, as I said, he did steal the whole kit, and he was using it the way I left it. So how stupid of a thief can you be that you literally use the same gear on another wedding and in the complete same setup as I left it? I literally had a tape in there that this guy basically left the tape in there just the way it was. I was lazy enough to not throw that tape away, but this basically shows how stupid of a thief this person was. And then he basically took all these photos. This event was in San Jose. It was like 30 minutes away from me, and I basically drive right there at the moment, and I was like, hey, that is my drone. And this guy basically starts making different stories about how he was gifted this drone by his sister or something, and he didn't actually purchase the drone, so he had no idea. He had no purchase of proof at the moment. So we basically took control of the drone there with power, and we basically left the event. So that's how I got my drone back. And for me, that was just like a big deal, like how I can, find my stuff without like actually any help from the police or the security cameras or any of that, which is pretty crazy because I actually thought that this drone was like lost and it was gone forever. But I did get it back, and I was really happy that this drone was back. But it really kind of raised a lot of questions in me that moving forward, how do we keep our gear safe? We even bought like a big old cage where we can keep our stuff safe. But I think the way to keep your stuff safe is basically being discreet at weddings and stuff when you are going out. Like, don't have stickers on your cars that says your photography name and label and all that, because this will basically tell people who aren't even there, like even when you're parked at home, it will basically tell people that this guy's a photographer. He's bound to have something expensive in his car. It can be nothing. You might have everything in your home or in your office, and someone can actually break into your car and look for stuff, and guess what? You're gonna be the one paying for all the damages and stuff. So the lesson being here is always keep your stuff in the car if you can when you are out in events. But if you're not, just keep everything at home. Do have control over where your gear is at all times. It's really important for you to do that. And for me, at this stage, I really figured out that we need to really kind of just trust the people that we work with, but at the same time, we're not going to go out and just trust anyone. And if we are shooting with someone new, we are going to keep a third eye open for anything that could go wrong and why we shouldn't trust anyone. So a lesson for everyone: if you are working with someone new, doesn't matter how close they are with your other friend, always keep kind of an eye out and see basically keep your stuff as safe as possible. Obviously at times you can't be watching your stuff. You need to be watching what the event and what's going on, what you're shooting. So you do need to focus on that. If you do have problems, leave the stuff in your car. It's much more safe there than just out there in the hall. So this is it for today's video. If you guys have any stories similar to this one where your stuff was stolen, or I would love to know your stories and what you did to resolve that fear over time. Let me know. And if you did like this video, please make sure to like and obviously share this as much as possible, because people do need to know how people can screw you over in different ways, and then what are the preventive ways you can actually resolve that fear and just be better off without these people in the film industry and the photography industry. So that's it for today's video. I hope you guys liked it, and I'll see you guys in the next video.